Hello. Fix ride. No, fix drive ride fly. Let me just get the chat working on my screen. You're the first person in. That sounds optimistic that more than one person will turn up, doesn't it? You love... Oh, hang on. Craig loves the ad hoc random content, okay? Hi, Jimmy. But now you want a TVR. Who doesn't want a TVR? Surely everybody wants a TVR. You're welcome. TVRs are great. Not all of them, but most of them. Some of them. Probably half of them. Half of them are great. And the others are... Yeah, they're there. So, hi, Andy D. What's my favourite soup and why? I don't really like soup that much. I'm not massively into it. Chicken, I suppose. Or tomato. Here in darkest Hertfordshire. Love your show. My show. Got a Fiat 126 Biz. I did a drift in a Fiat 126 Biz in a B&Q car park once. And then my friend who owned it tried doing it, and he lost it because it gripped and it snapped back the other way and went over a curb. And he went home in a bit of a grump. So, true story. In the Biz water cooled? Isn't that and it's built in Poland or something, so. Hello, should the Ma. Chris Berry, hello. Should the SM engine go in a TVR? You'd struggle because it's 90 degree and the TVR chassis are made for 60 degree. I mean, I don't know if you could put a 90 in one, but the Rover V8's 60 and the Cologne's 60 that goes in the S's, so, and then everything else, and the AJP is 60, I think. Oh, I don't know actually. Ask someone who knows what they're talking about. But yeah, it wouldn't be right. The best place for an SM engine is an SM or a Maserati Merak. So, hello, Michael Smith. Thank you very much. I'm not actually sure. I can't quite believe it's at 5k. I was expecting 500 if I was lucky. So, you've just interrupted me watching the CX drive. Was enjoying it. Yeah, it was a nice car. I mean, it'll still be there when this finishes. Or if this is boring, you can go. Yeah. If there's any problem with sound or anything, let me know, because it's just on my phone. It's not. There's no microphone or anything like that. My camera that I use to make things doesn't do streaming. So. Did I ever sell the Reliant van? No, it's there. So no, I haven't sold that. Yeah, I could do with selling it really. David Knowles had a Citroën GSA, a BX GTI, and he won't mention the ZX. I'm not mad on ZXs either. They're good cars. They ride amazingly and they handle well and they're comfy and everything, but I just don't really like the look of them or the feel of them or the engine doesn't really work. No, I had a 16 valve and yeah, it was alright, but nothing on the BX. So, but they're good cars. I can see why people like them. It probably works well as a turbo diesel Volcano or something like that. But I've never driven a GS or a GSA. I'd love an early GS with the SM style swoopy dashboard. Congratulations on the 5k. What better way to celebrate than by fitting air suspension to my Talbot Express camper? I don't do Talbot Express vans and campers. That's Becky's nemesis. So, air suspension. I'm sure there are probably kits, because if people do it to a Volkswagen van, then what? That's daft. So do it to a Talbot. It's older and more retro. So, or the Visa diesel that I rolled. Ooh, wouldn't want to roll a V. I mean, you wouldn't want to roll any car, but rolling a Visa. How much would buy it? What, the Reliant? I had it up for 1,000. It owes me about 1,200 plus all the faffing around, but that's my fault really. So, but yeah, I had it. I would sell it for 1,000. To be honest, you know, with all the spares, it comes with more spares than that car, truck, van, pickup thing needs. So, tiny bit quiet. Yeah, I don't know how to adjust that. Annoyingly, let me just try. No, I can't. Sorry. Yeah, my phone has got a USB-C plug on the bottom of it, but the microphone won't work in it because the USB-C plug is absolutely toast. The charger just falls out the back of it. So video quality is perfect. It's not bad for a cheap phone, is it? Shame the CX was manual steering. Yeah, yeah, no, I get that. I think if I had one, it would have to have the Daravi, but I do get the appeal of the really, really early one. The fact it's a 75. Apparently, there's only one in the country that's older, which is the same colour, but it's a more lowly spec. But for some reason, the very early ones didn't have power steering, and it's not just the fact it hasn't got the power steering or the Daravi. It's the weight of it, and then the ratio. It's just, you go into a roundabout and it's leaning up, and you think, oh, I'll just pick that line, and then the curb comes towards you. You think, oh no, I've got to do even more. So it's not really like a Citroën. The Citroëns are normally quite, there's no feedback, but they're normally quite sharp and quite light. So it's the opposite of what you'd expect, but it's still lovely. But we're splitting hairs. But yeah, I'd want more with Daravi just for the gimmick of it. So, just evening. Hello, Mighty Cat Mods. Oh, I'm trying to catch up here. Oh, off you go, Dad. Yeah. Thanks for coming, David Knowles. Thank you, Peugeot Dude and Son. Ox, I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I'm going to say Ox Ulek Ozcan, because that's what we say in England, but I'm sure that's wrong. Not going to lie, I know what NGL means because I've got kids. Not going to lie, was expecting a 0 to 60 in the SM. Is that number of years that I'm going to get it finished, or is that speed? So, when is the next Betty video coming out? Hopefully this weekend. I've done half of it, so probably more than half of it actually. So yeah, hopefully Saturday morning. But we'll see. I'm going to run out of Betty content soon because it was only here for a few months. So once it's gone, I haven't got anything else. So I'm going to have to find something else interesting. Am I planning any merchandise? No, not really. No, I think I made a joke and said if I got to 10k I would, but I mean I didn't. I made that sort of a bit flippantly because I didn't expect to get to 10k. So I know a few people who do designs and things, so we could make something. It'd have to be something funny. I wouldn't just have just a logo. It would have to be something silly. In theory, can a Maserati V8 fit in an SM? There is an SM with a V8 in it, but the V8 or the V6 in an SM isn't a cut down V8. Everyone seems to think it is. There's this myth that it is. It isn't. What they did when they made a prototype is they took a V8 and they chopped 2 cylinders off and they made a prototype engine to see if it would work. And when they found that it would work, they made a new one from the ground up. The reason it's 90 degree is because all their tooling, well, we assume, all their tooling was 90 degree because all their V8s were 90 degree. And to make a 60 degree, you'd have to have an entirely different production line. So that's why they're 90, I think. But yeah, the engine never was a V8. So there was a V8 SM made, but they had the heavy tax regulations in France, so a V8 wouldn't have sold anyway because it would have been horrendously expensive to tax, and to buy. I think the tax would have got put in the purchase price. So yeah, that's why no French cars had big engines after the war. So they only really wanted a V6. But had a CX GTI Auto Mark II, more holes in it than a crazy golf course. They do rust, but you can tell, as I said in the video, they've got this kind of like, it's not a chassis, it's like a big subframe that the body sits on. You can take the body off that, you can get to quite a bit of it. It's a bit of work obviously, but yeah, they're fixable. Thank you, Cubitis. How are you from Germany? Christ. Cauliflower McPug. Hello, would love to chat, but I've just started my day at work in New Zealand. Wow. 7:15 in the morning, is it? There? How you managed to become an expert on random French cars and TVRs and retain all of it. I've got, well, French stuff I've always been into. That's my main passion. And the TVRs, I've always liked them. I didn't really get into them in terms of owning them and actually physically having one and getting into mine until I met my wife, actually, or girlfriend as she was at the time. And yeah, I think I can't actually figure out why we did that, but we bought a Chimera and ended up having to work on it and take it apart because it rusted. The chassis rusted before this place existed, and it was working on that set me off to work here, because I did that in my garage. So for my job interview here, when I was just a skivvy here, I just said, well, that's what I've done, and pointed to the Chimera sort of thing. So yeah, it was more out of necessity than anything. I've always loved TVRs. I mean, Cerberus, Chimeras, Griffith, all the Clarkson DVDs with a Griffith in. I had a poster of a Chimera on my wall at one point, so I've always been into them. And then since I've been here, that's kind of expanded. I didn't know much about S's and wedges and Vixens and things like that, so the more you have in, the more you learn, and then you get to see which ones you like, which ones you don't, and then you drive them, and some of them let you down, and some of them blow your head, your socks off. So yeah, it's a bit of an odd mix, isn't it? French and TVR. Well, it's not even French. It's just Citroëns, really. Occasionally I have a Peugeot. I've never had a Renault, so yeah. Where was I at? A range of interesting. A garage of interesting. I've got more stuff I haven't put out yet. No content. I heard a rumour I have an SM. The rumour is true. I do have an SM. Yes, I will. I have mentioned it, and I will continue to mention it, and make lots of videos and announcements. I might rent a billboard. I think everyone needs to know. I'll get some funny stickers done. Yeah. My mate had a CX, same colour, but he crashed it. He swore because the brakes were so fierce, locked up too readily. No, he just pressed the pedal too hard. It's harder to modulate it because there's very little movement in the pedal. But yeah, if you're not used to it, you might struggle. But they're not too fierce. It's just they're strong. They just work differently, because the CX, sorry, and the BX and everything older than that, the brakes are powered. They're not power assisted brakes like a conventional car has. They're power operated. So the hydraulic system is constantly at high pressure, and when you push the brake pedal, it just opens a valve, and that just goes to the brakes. So you don't push hard at all. You just open the valve with your foot, and the car does it for you. So it's nothing like pushing hard on a cylinder. That's why the pedal feels different. In the Xantia, they tried to make it feel more like a normal car by putting more springs and things in between the pedal and the valve, but it just ruined it, to be honest. So you are clever with the camera angles. It would be viable in the back of a trailer. Oxulok. There you go. Can I say curly whirly in a Scottish accent? Well, I haven't got a Scottish accent. So, not really. A hint of strawberry blonde in the beard. My hair has got all sorts of colours in it. So, it probably is ginger in it. Have I given any thought to getting hold of an SM? It's a good idea. I should do that. I might want to tweet that I'm live on here. I've got enough people to keep up with, to be honest. I don't mind. I did do a tweet and say I was going to do it. So I you know, yeah, I'm not gonna. I won't do another one, but yeah, I've got enough keeping up with it. So I couldn't do what Ian does when Ian Hubnut does them, and he's got like 500 going off all at once. Yeah. Was the YouTube stuff a big time drain? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's more a case of if I can fit it around what I do every day, which I've not struggled with as much the last couple of weeks. That's fine. And then the trick is to work out ways of getting the editing done more quickly, because Ian said way back when he was down here picking Betty up or something, or might have even been somewhere else. And Jack, number 27, said exactly the same thing. So the trick is to film it so that you don't have to edit much, because it's the editing that's the killer. The editing takes ages. So yeah, I think it is time consuming, but it was more so for me to begin with, because like with the C5 clutch, the Cecily clutch videos, I was just doing them like showing absolutely everything, and it was just going on and on and on. And I mean, they're still going on. I haven't finished it yet. I've done the car, but I haven't done the videos. But I'm going to keep doing them in the same way, because I started, so I finished. But yeah, they were a trick. They were a lesson, in how not to do it, because it just took forever. But I've got other stuff I'm supposed to be writing another book. But the problem is the book I struggle to write. I struggle for time. It was only quiet, and I don't get a lot of quiet. Only like now. So yeah, I need to like really think for that. But I'm thinking when I do the next book, I'm thinking of doing some videos like behind the scenes on what it's like to do it, to write a book, and like travel around and people I have to speak to and interview and get pictures and stuff like that. I might do a little series on that, because that could be quite interesting. So I don't own Southways. I get half of it now, but I didn't at the time. So that's a long story. Not for here really. But so yeah. Do I still have the SM? I've not mentioned it for a while. At least since the CX video this morning. I probably should remind everyone I've got an SM. Thank you on the congratulations. Any Imp action imminent? The Imp, I did the videos on it, and then I came to the conclusion that I should prioritise the TVR ahead of the Imp. So having said I'm going to do the Imp, I then thought actually I should do the TVR, because the TVR is more usable. I could drive that every day if it came to it, and it would get it out of here. But there's videos on the TVR to come out, and so I think I should probably do the TVR first, so the Imp might drop back a little bit. But the videos I was going to do on the Imp were going to be the two I've done, and then there were going to be some smaller ones going around different bits, like how we did the engine, how we did the gearbox, how we did the cooling system, how I done this, that, the other, body, and going through it in like 5 or 6 little videos just to show, and then bring it up to date to where it is now, and then carry on. But it'll be like Project Binky style, because it'll just take forever. So there will be more, but not any imminently, no. Have I ever lowered the rear suspension with a torsion bar set? I have, but only on a Saxo. So yeah, I don't know what a Renault 11's like. Some of them are I think the Renaults are slightly different, but I imagine you need heat and a lot of patience. So, is there any SM content coming? There is. I filmed a little bit the other day. Nothing major. I was just crying on the floor. The video I need to do is the history one, to catch up on the story of what I've learned about the car so far, because I need to do that before I go ripping it to bits anymore. I need to get that bit done, and I've got to make one more phone call to do that. I've got to try and get hold of a guy in America, and see if I can A, get hold of him, and B, get any information out of him, because I might have found the previous owner, but we don't know yet. So bearing in mind the car is coming with all the car's got is the old certificate of title, which I've got to send to DVLA, and the Nova paperwork, and that's it. There's no paperwork. There's only one key that works, the other key doesn't work, none of the doors, petrol gas, nothing locks. So yeah, I've got nothing at all. Oh, I've got an invoice for a battery from the 80s, so that's how I figured out, found one of the previous owners. So so yeah, there will be that coming soon, hopefully. I've done a bit with the SM, it has moved, and I've done some bits and bobs with it. Do I like modern Citroëns too? Not really. Well, no, I've got a C6. I class that as modern, so yeah, I like that. I love the C6. I had a C4 coupe before, and I actually really like that. It wasn't very good to drive, to be honest. The suspension is really basic, but I like the look of it and the feel of it. It felt special. It felt a bit different. It was quite enjoyable just to potter around, and really comfy seats. It was a VTS, and it had really comfy seats. Amazing aircon, amazing stereo. That's pretty much all you wanted, really. So, and it had headlamps that steered around corners like the C6 does. So, I did like it, but it was no driver's car. Definitely not a hot hatch. It would have made more sense as a diesel, to be honest. But other than that, not really. I don't mind the Cactus. The first Cactus looks alright. I can kind of get that, but it's an SUV type thing. I don't want to sit that high. I like the look of the DS5s, but apparently they drive like doodah. So yeah, I'll have to have a go in one, but I can imagine they probably do, because that C4 didn't ride very well, so I can't imagine the DS5 would. Chris Berry worked for Citroën here in the Netherlands nearly 8 years, owned more BXs than anything else, maybe 10. It would sound like you've got a problem, same as me. Matt learns driving a BX. So did I, technically. So, oh, Christ. Ah, right, okay, I'm going a bit slow here. I didn't realise there's so many more comments. Can I say purple burglar alarm in a Scottish accent? You're obsessed with Scottish accents. No, because I haven't got a Scottish accent. So, I can say it in this accent, but I just did, so. Just after 5 AM in Australia. CX sold here, do not rust that bad, but if you have one imported from the UK, like my Prestige, you're in trouble. Both rust and sunburnt interior. Christ, yeah, you'd get both, wouldn't you? You'd have it both ways. Yeah. How many others work with me or just on my own? Just one other guy works here, kind of technically voluntarily. But yeah, in terms of employment, it's me. So, well done on the 5k. Great to see your channel growing. It's brilliant, isn't it? You now want a Chimera and an old Citroën to add to the fleet. I recommend them highly, both of them. I'd like a basic BX, like a 1.4 TE. People like the basic ones. They do go on about it, but I don't understand why. To me, BX is the sort of car that it's better to have. I mean, it's charming to have the basic one. They do look nice, but yeah, my favourite BX is still the 16 valve. So that's the opposite end of the scale. So I like my Mark 1 as well. The GT, Mark 1 GT is really nice. Well done on 5k, Richard. Greetings from rainy, windy Dublin. Enjoying your content. Don't tell Hubnut I said that. Why? He won't mind. I like Dublin. I went there. We stayed in. It looked like Beirut outside. I think it was called Finglas, or something like that. We hired a brown Renault Clio, but yeah, had a nice spag bowl there, if I remember rightly. Looking forward to some SM action if possible. That sounds a bit dodgy, Chris. I'm not going to lie. Oh, hi, Rich. Congrats on the 5k. Really enjoying it. Thank you very much, Ryan. Sure, a lot of piston headers would watch a TVR Chim series. I don't know if they would now. Is it really a TVR based forum anymore, do you think? Do you think it still is? I don't know. The problem with that is that you'd have people. I mean, they will see one eventually because I'm going to do my Chimera's body off. I'll do videos on that. But yeah, they'll, you know, the problem with that is that all the people who come along and pick holes in what you're doing and tell you you're doing it wrong, even though you've done 10 ton of them. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people who quietly read stuff on PistonHeads who are quite sound actually. Some nice guys on there. In the Readers Cars section is good. That's quite down to earth, but a lot of it is don't ever go in the automotive vloggers one. Some of the stuff I'm reading there is awful. Hi Kitch, hello Finley Plimpton. Ears peeled for a nice 106 GTI stroke VTS. Good luck. You're more likely to find a 106. What's the status or what's wrong with the C6? That's funny you ask that question, Boris Kostic, because it's what I've been working on today and yesterday and the day before that. It's really dragged on. I've been doing tons of work on it. I'm trying to get it on the road for next month, although the guy who does the MOTs is off with COVID, so I can't get it MOT'd yet. But yeah, I want to get it on the road for March. That's my plan. So I've not driven that for too long, so I love driving that. So I'm doing videos on it. There'll be a lot of C6 videos coming before long. So it's quite, and some of it's quite. Well, I wouldn't say it's quite interesting. Depends what you're interested by. If you're a bit of a nerd, you'll love it. Some of the stuff I've learned on my car, what it does. But yeah, no, the C6 is definitely worthy of the videos. It's a hell of a thing. It really is. Also, great to see you at the NEC. Also, great to see you at the NEC. I wasn't at the NEC. Oh, also great to be great to see you at the NEC with Ian, Steph, and Matt. I think they've only got room for 3. I don't think you'd be able to fit. I could take the Imp, I suppose. I did mention to Ian. I said I'd be up for doing something in the future if they ever had a stand and he couldn't fill it. I don't think I'm big enough. I don't think, not physically. I don't think I'm well known enough. I think it's hard to get a stand there, to be honest. So, plus in the flesh, I'm quite quiet and awkward. So, hi everyone from West Yorkshire. How do you know someone's from Yorkshire? They'll tell you. Hello, Park Nest. A little claim to fame. One of TVR's engineers worked at our train depot. He used to catch a lift. Catch a lift? Catch a lift? Is that a regional thing? Off the depot with his push iron. Yeah, you've lost me now. Push it with a push iron? Is that bike? Is that autocorrect? Push bike. Scott Walter, did you sell your Fox? No, come buy it. Psycho63, you're one of my newest YouTube loves. Thank you. I track the psychos, that's great. You make me laugh a lot. The problem is I'm probably not trying to, people just laugh at me, so I'm still amazed at the brownness of the interior and that CX you posted. Also, was the radio at the weirdest angle? The interior was tobacco, which is quite rare. And yeah, the radio was at a ridiculous angle. Sometimes they're down in the centre console, like in the Grand Tour video when he's dropping his cheeky pan of chocolat into it. But this one had the heater down there, and the radio was up at the top of the centre console, but pointing towards the sky, so you couldn't see it. So I don't know why they did that. I can't see the reason for that. So the SM one's down by the handbrake. An ex-work colleague was into BXs. He loved the diesels. Most do, to be honest. The diesel was the BX diesel, the most popular diesel car for a couple of years on the trot. It was kind of the reason why I think it was behind the diesel boom, because the BX TD was as fast as a petrol, but way more economical. There was no downside to having one, whereas with any other car there was. Whereas the BX, you could have your cake and eat it. So the petrols no one liked because the engines weren't amazing, apart from the 16 valve. The rest of them were just kind of alright. There was no reason to buy one. So Cliff G, oh, is that TVR Cliff, is it? Hello Cliff. ABL, which is your favourite car of the fleet? What, my fleet? All the cars I've got. I don't know, probably my BX, that one. I got that. That was in a magazine years ago. That picture's nicked off of that. I've had that. How many years? 18 years this year. Jeez. Yeah, I like that. And the SM, because that is a dream car. But I'll never get rid of that red BX. That 16 valve. So I've knocked everything over it. But the SM as well is a dream car. So bicycle, yes, I'm with you, Chris. I'm with you now. Am I drinking green tea? No, it's LHM. Drinking LHM. He was an engine guy at TVR. Can't remember his name. Sorry, Cliff might know him. Oh no, Cliff wasn't the factory. Cliff was a dealer. Not that sort of dealer. I know a couple of guys ex-factory. So yeah, there was quite a few there. Jonathan Stambow. Right. Okay. Now you've got my attention. You think you saw my SM when it was near Ohio? There was a dealership near Fort Wayne, Indiana, with two of them. That's interesting. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Where's that? My SM spent most of its life in Kenton, Ohio, and Lima. So I don't know if that's near there. Don't forget, there's SMs in America. A lot of them were white, and not many white ones over here, but there were a lot of. I'm just looking at Google Maps on the other phone at the moment to see where that is. But yeah, it's not a million miles from Lima, is it? I'd be very interested to know more, just in case. So, SM's not my favorite. That red BX is special, so it's more than a sentimental value with that. It's like Ian with his 2CV. As actual car, just as a thing, yeah, the SM. But yeah, the BX is got more to it than. I mean, I love BX 16 valves anyway, but you know, it's there's more sentimentality with that one. It hasn't been on the road for 5 years now, I think 4 or 5 years. So it's just at my garage at home. Can I include Venga Boys Up and Down in my? It's a good shout. Good shout. Yeah, not cheesy music. No, it's. My first car was a GS Palace semi-auto, but it rusted away. I believe they do that. Not unless he wants a copyright claim strike. I think I can do it. I just can't monetize it. I mean, when you watch YouTube videos, you get adverts anyway. It's just whether the person who did the video gets any money out of it or not. So oh, it's gone. Had a pair of BX diesels, one after the other. I think a 19 RD followed by a 17 TXD turbo. Yeah, those are legit names, although it shouldn't be 17, it should be 18 because they weren't 1.7. But yes, TXD turbo is quite rare. 19 RD's not, but TXD turbos were quite rare. Near the county of Ohio of your plate. Yeah, it says the plate's got Allen on it. Allen County, is it, or something like that? And it would have been issued in 1990. It was the last plate it had on it. So, if there was any car I could add to the fleet, what would it be? Says Stuart. What, money no object? Probably a Lexus LFA, you know, or a Toyota 2000 GT. No, an LFA. But they're quite a bit of money, although I quite like NSXs as well. There's loads. From the 1.9, 19 died with a cracked block. Yeah. If you don't change the antifreeze enough, that's the only thing that kills them really. Is man's 390 wedge behaving itself and staying out of my shop? I believe it is. I've not heard from him. He was really happy to get it back. When he got back, there were a couple of niggles. He drove it back. I think he lives about 50 miles away, so he did another 50-mile trip home himself. It's the first time he'd ever driven it. And he said his everyday car is a Tesla. Just like you couldn't get more different. Yeah, I think it's okay. I don't expect he's driving it a lot. I mean, a lot of customers don't. You do all that work on the car and then they only drive it on high days and holidays. So the weather doesn't really suit TVRs at the moment. So yeah, I believe he's happy with it. The other wedges here is giving us more grief, to be honest. Oh God, where have we gone? Bodysuit guy, what's stopping you doing more videos on customer cars? Do you prefer not to? Client confidentiality, trade secrets. Would be interested to learn about the chassis work you do. Yeah, to be honest, nothing really stops me. I mean, I've only done the two I've done have been the 390 SE. I don't know why I opted to do that one. I kind of like the story behind it. That was the first one, and then the CX this morning, the one that went up this morning, but that was last week. That was customer's car. Everything else, I mean, a lot of it's Chimeras, and obviously I've already got one, and I can show that one all the time. So, yeah, I don't get a lot of time to do it because you have to go off and drive their cars, and I just feel a bit. And also, I'm a bit too honest. So if I don't like a car, I'll just say I think this is rubbish, and you know, then you start crossing the lines between business and pleasure and winding people up. So nothing to do with trade secrets. Quite open about working in the motor trade, to be honest. Quite happy to tell people. I'm you know, a lot of people are quite secretive about it. I'm not. I'll tell people how it is. But the chassis work on the TVRs, as I say, my black Chimera, I will be doing the chassis on that probably next year. So I'll be taking the body off and doing the whole lot. So, and that will all be documented, probably. So, assuming I'm still doing this. Did I manage to fix Ian's C5? Yeah, well, it's not Ian's anymore, but yeah, a long time ago. That went ages ago. In fact, it's been MOT'd since then, so it's still going. It's looking good, but I haven't finished the videos yet. Probably got. I'm editing a little bit more heavily on those now, trying to just get it done. But probably 2 more, I would think, would see that one done. Maybe 3 at a push. I've been trying to find a Google Street view of it sitting at the dealer. I've been using Google Earth because on Google Earth you can go back in time as well. So if you download Google Earth to your PC, you can go back in time from aerial. I didn't realise this. One of my customers actually pointed it out. Google Street View, you can wind back years. And then on Google Maps, when you look at it satellite view, you can't. But if you download Earth for your PC, or for your phone possibly, you can go back in time. And I know the scrapyard the car was in, were likely in, so I've been scouring through it trying to find a white SM. Be amazing if you found it sitting at the dealer, but I wouldn't have thought it's that car because, I mean, I don't know the full story, but I know a bit about the story, and the only dealer in... well, no, there's nothing to say. It could be there. It depends what year it was. Depends what, I mean, you're really interested to find out more about it. So, have I found any of the fabled Gary Newman stencils on TVR panels? No. No, one. I think one of the cars here has it. There's not as many things scrawled on bodies as Top Gear likes to make out. So there's writing on them, but it's normally just the last few digits of the VIN or the build number or something like that, or the initials of the person who's done it. So yeah, you do find writing, but it's not often because they were making loads of cars. They're not going to write on every single car and muck about. I think it was wasn't there a painter who had a stencil when he was, or a trimmer or something, and he used to stencil all the cars he did. I think they were often Cerbras as well, because the Cerbras were, maybe they weren't. The Cerbras were built in a different building to the Chimeras and Griffiths, because I went up to the factory and saw it all before it got pulled down. So we'll be sorting out pictures of my TVR days, including a Griffith involved in a 90-mile-an-hour head-on. Ouch. What is the most difficult or unusual car you've had to work on? That's a good question. Ooh. That's a unusual that I've had to work on. I can't think, to be honest. Well, it's going to be the SM. I mean, definitely the SM, but I haven't actually really done much on that. So, yeah, probably it's going to be the SM. Up until now, probably Cerbras are a bit of a fight. They can be a bit of a workup. TVR Cerbras. Ultimas are a pig to work on, but I don't do much on those. Well, it depends what you're doing on them, really, doesn't it? Some of it's easy, but I'll get back to. Jonathan Stambow. If you go on, if you go on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, go on one of those. The links I have at the bottom of the videos in the info bit, and get in contact there, and I'll I'll catch up with you on that because you might be onto something. So right. Oh Christ! I didn't realise how far I am behind. Wife had a red BX GTI. Preferred driving it to my 318 BMW. Of course she did. Evening. Sorry, I missed the start of this. I haven't missed anything. Don't worry. Henry Hole. Looking forward to seeing more TVR content. You don't see that many around. You don't, do you? They're getting rarer. They're not making any more, are they? So. The seat back on the driver's seat collapsed on our TXD Turbo. I accelerated away from a light and suddenly found myself rapidly reclining. Wow, I've never had that. They are quite flimsy. Well, no, they're not that flimsy, but yeah, I've never had that. I've had it in an AX before because I folded the seat forward for someone to get in the back, and then when you do that, it slides on the runners and then slides back and latches, and it hadn't latched on the runners, so I put my foot down and the whole seat shot backwards, and I couldn't reach the pedals and steering wheel and everything. That was quite, you know, mildly exciting, that was. Allen County, Jonathan. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, you do sound like someone I need to talk to before I make my history video. Would I take the SM to a racetrack for a track day? No. No, that's very much not a track day car. Yeah. I haven't really got... I mean, my best track day car would be a TV, would probably be the Chimera, because the Imp would be no good, because it just... It gets to top speed within seconds, and then you're just stuck at 100. If you go around Goodwood, you'd just be flat out all the way around. Love or hate? Oh no, it's not me, that's someone else. How did I been a TVR specialist? I covered that one earlier in the video, but because I had one basically, and then people started bringing them to me, and so I thought, okay, I'll work on those. Love the wedge video, thank you. I think the reason it was my SM is because it had a green plate behind the glass in the front. Green Ohio plates are not common anymore as we change them often because of rust. Okay. Random question related to our BX that caused some confusion back in the day. Did BXs ship with vented rims or were they all solid? What, the wheel rims? No, the later ones had vented. Would have been about 1991 onwards, maybe a bit earlier. Don't know exactly. I can find out, but I'm going to guess 1990, 1991 they started having black standardised. Well, there's a couple of different types they had, but yeah, the earlier ones had solid discs. You know, rims. Have I still got the Fox? Yes. Yep, still for sale. The Wheeler Dealers TVR had to have a new chassis, even though the old one was powder coated. Well, the fact they're powder coated is the problem, because powder coating doesn't really work for chassis. I mean, it works short term, looks lovely, but it flakes off as soon as you get a bit of rust and the water gets underneath it. It just comes off in scabs. So they had a reconditioned chassis. So a reconditioned chassis is technically the chassis from another car, which means the VIN has been scrubbed off it and another one put on it. So it's interesting. But that company, I think they now make brand new chassis. But I think it was just powder coated again. So it's just going to do it. We have chassis in here and parts that people have had powder coated, sort of 5-6 years old, and it's rusting and scabbing off because they just, you know, we don't powder coat them, we get them sprayed, 2-pack wet sprayed. So ABL, is Vecchi staying or going? Going nowhere at the moment, literally. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know. Needs a lot of welding, and I don't really know. I'm going to have to press the, because we use the van for work. It's a stupid thing. That is a tool. It's the work. It's for taking chassis to the powder coaters, well, powder coaters, to the painters and sprayers and everything like that. So I haven't been able to do that for a little while. Now I've got one that needs picking up and another one that needs dropping. In fact, 2 that need dropping off. I'm going to have to use a trailer. I'm going to have to tow the trailer, and the only towing vehicle we got is Vecchi and the BX, the Mark 1. So I'm going to have to tow them down there with the BX because that is still usable. It's just off the road to save it from the winter, from the salt. So for now I'm going to have to use that, and if that works really well, then there's no point in having a van anyway. So I don't know what will happen with Vecchi. I don't know. It was a good laugh, good fun, but Yeah, I don't know where it fits in at the moment, so if the new TVR factory goes ahead, they should have an under-panel graffiti section to continue tradition. Now, definitely they will. We've got like, they look like they're taking it a bit more seriously, if it ever happens. Ever seen a 5 litre V8S? Not a factory one. No, not a factory. Didn't even know they did a 5 litre one. Like, I mean, I'm guessing a one-off or, you know, special, but do I enjoy a wee drink or am I a tea coffee man? I don't like coffee. Tea and wee drink, is that like alcohol? Yeah, yeah, I'll probably drink. I'm not gonna say too much, but I'll if I've well, I had a box of beers in the hallway as I come in, and nice and cold in there, and that box is getting smaller. So I keep getting bought whiskey at work, like customers do it as gifts. So a lot of those videos were edited on whiskey. Send you a pin mark of where the 2S. Oh, nice one, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. That's good. I keep mentioning SMs. Do I own one? Funny you should mention that. I need to come into the chat. Remember from one of your old posts, there was an Alpha 75 in the background. What's the story? Sorry if it's been asked. Hasn't been asked. That's a mate's car. It's not mine. It's still here. It's been moved, but it's still here. It was, yeah, it's just I'm basically doing it as a favour. Well, he was supposed to be doing us a website actually, which I do need, so I should probably tap him up for that. But I've got to do some more work on the car, so it's kind of, yeah, it's work for work, that sort of thing. About to ask me what I thought of the AX. I love AXs. I love it. I've had loads of AX GTs and a GTI. And my favourite GT I sold a few years ago. I had 250,000 miles on it. It's still going. I did a big thread on PistonHeads about it. So, yeah. AXs are great. I've got loads of AX GT bits actually I need to get rid of. 91-ish black vented rims sounds right. Yeah, K-Reg TXD would have that, yeah. Citroën dealership swore they weren't the right rims for the car. Well, I mean, the TXD would have had the ones like oval holes and less of them. So if it had loads of little round holes, then they're off something else. But they were rusty from new. No, they weren't. Probably were. Was buying the Fox a moment of madness? So the Fox, true story, the Fox, I committed to buying that and sent him the money, or a half of it, when it was before I'd even seen the SM on eBay. So I'd committed to it, and I was waiting to find a way of getting it back here. And originally I was going to drive there. Well, originally I was going to drive there in the van that I ended up swapping for Vecchi, and then I was going to drive there in Vecchi and put the Fox in Vecchi because I measured it and I thought it would fit. But then I thought, if you get all the way there and it doesn't, for whatever reason, that's a very long way to go. I did contemplate taking an angle grinder with me to make Vecchi bigger, but then I thought I could just get a trailer and tow it. And then a mate of mine offered to sell me a trailer cheap, so I ended up towing it back instead, and it was fun in the BX to do that. So so if I would keep it. It's not a massive project. It is what it said it was. It just needs to be taken apart and needs putting back together. It's just I looked at it and thought, what am I going to do with that? Originally I was going to sign write it and have it as something to do with the business, but what am I realistically going to use it for? So yeah, it's just silly. Shouldn't have bought it really. I got carried away watching Hubnut. So one off for the Prince of Brunei. Then we built another in house. Is that what, with a Griffith spec 500 was it, or was it something special for you know, based on the NCK lumps? If I need help getting through the alcohol, I don't need help getting through it. I'm all right, thank you. I, yeah. Lovely video of the Delta Blue CX, probably the best colour Citroën did. Yeah, it is a good colour, Delta Blue. Did SMs in Delta Blue, but later ones, 75, not same as mine. So, thank you, Flaming Hedgehog. Thank you, Isaac Plays Bass. 91 watching is fine, trust me, I can just about handle that. Hello Jay, what's happening to the lovely silver Xantia in the background? The front of that is a bit smashed up. That's on the back burner. That was a whole other project, quite a big one. So yeah, I'll reveal more in detail at some point. But yeah, it's not. It does work, but it's had a prang. So there's another Xantia around the corner as well. So thanks. Wish I had an AX K11 Micra and Citroën C1. Despite similar size and power to weight, they're very different. Yeah, I imagine they are. I'd love a 400 SE. What's a good one worth now, and what to look for? I just love the styling and sound compared to Griffs and Chims. Well, if it were me, I'd get a 390 SE or a very early 400 SE that's got the NCK engine. What they're worth, less than the Chimeras and Griffiths, but I honestly don't know actually. Wedges are really hard to price. If it's, I mean, the chassis is the most important thing, without a doubt, because the chassis and then the body, the chassis is the most expensive thing to sort out, because you won't just do the chassis, you'll end up having to do tons of other mechanical bits, and then the body is quite involved on a wedge, and quite poor quality, so there's a lot of prep work goes into it, and then the interior, again, quite expensive to retrim it, so they're the three big things. Mechanically, fine, really. If it hasn't had a camshaft, it'll probably need one, but yeah, the most 400 SEs, if it's got a hot wire airflow meter, then it's just a standard 3-point. I mean, it's standard, it's mildly tuned, but they're not as powerful as the earlier one with a flapper ECU, which is the downside of it. But yeah, the 390 SE, the engine in that is great. It's got some real punch to it. It's as quick as a Griffith 430, I would say. Oh, hello, Matthew. Matthew Hayward. He's a motoring journalist, everybody. He's got someone famous in it. R.A.P. Jerry Hathaway. Yeah, I know. That sucks, doesn't it? And quite out of the blue as well. NCK 5 litre, not quite a full Griff engine. NCK 5 litre. I mean, I've driven a 450 SE, and that went well. That was quick. So I'll be intrigued to know what a 5 litre one would be like, especially in a V8S. They struggle to contain a 4 litre. So Ian Tyrrell's SM is a lovely green. I don't think it's his, isn't it? I think it's a customer's. I think he got it in. I watched that video. There's a few things in there, and I thought, not quite sure about that. I think he did the old V8 chop down thing. That is Vert Tropique, I think. There's two light greens. It is a nice colour. Came here via Hubnut Antics, stayed for weird Citroën content. Am I planning to keep the SM in white during the resto, says De Glennon. No. Probably not. My wife came downstairs the day after we watched Grand Tour with that green SM that they're on about, the one Mike Brewer used to have. I've heard some stories about that car. And yeah, she said, I don't think you should keep it white. And then apologised for saying that, but yeah. And I tend to agree. I don't think it should be. It's not my dream. It's my dream car, but it would never be my dream colour. think it's the worst colour for an SM is white, so I think probably another colour. He also had a 5 litre Chimera left-hand drive that was bonkers. You are creating an enormous hype for the front of that Xantia. It's been binned. It's been a motoring journalist drove it and took someone out in it in Lincolnshire, I think it was. And I imagine he went into a corner. It's an Activa, and he's gone into a corner. And I imagine what followed, well, what preceded him entering the corner was him saying to his mate, "Watch this," and then it, I think it hit a Ford C-Max coming the other way and punted the rear axle out of it. So, yeah, it's smashed up. Although I don't know how bad it's actually smashed up. I think it's superficial at the moment, but I'll measure it one day and see. Benzina Paul, what's the NCK engine? You need to watch the 390 SE video for that. In fact, if you're thinking of buying a wedge, you definitely need to know about the NCK engine. Prefer the looks of the 400 to the 390. Fair, although the 390 is easier to work on because you can remove the side skirts, so you can work on the outriggers. The 400, none of it comes off. It's all one lump, heavy lump. Whereas the 390, you can take the splitter off, you can take the rear valance off, you can take it apart. So slightly easier to work on. Underneath the same car, same chassis near enough. So as long as you get one with power steering, because most 400s have power steering. I think all of them do. 390s, 2 out of 3, I would say. Did I get round to dropping the tank on the BX for flushing yet? No, because I haven't seen it for 3 months, something like that. I just parked it in the garage and left it. So I hope it's still there. Quite fond of that. But no, I've got this far without flushing it. I'm going to go all the way through. So, where are we at? Zachariah 74. I'm 15. Hello. I don't know how to talk to kids. Sorry, or young men. And in no position to buy a car, but I love your content regardless. Thank you. I didn't think this would be the sort of thing that would appeal to a 15-year-old. I imagine my kids would be bored senseless. If I could recommend one first car, what would it be? Do you know the way to do it is you want to be clever about it. There'll be a car out there, because it's all about insurance, isn't it? There'll be a car out there that is surprisingly cheap to insure, but you've got, I think, right outside the box. When I was younger, I had an AX GT. That was £1,600 a year at the time to insure, and I was I was 18 at the time, and it's £1,600 a year, which doesn't actually sound crazy now. Back then, that was horrendous, but now I know some kids are paying like £3 a year. And then I got a Honda Prelude, which was a 2 litre 16 valve with about 135 horsepower as a second gen, 1986. I'd love to find another one. A 2 litre GSI it was. And I got that, and that was £1,280 a year to insure. It was way faster, well, it wasn't way faster than the AX, but it was faster than the AX. It was a 2 litre 16 valve, much more likely to wrap myself around a tree in that. But they're all driven by old men. So there was no risk. And I knew people who were insuring like 1 litre Novas at the time for more than that. So there will be a car out there. You just got to, just think outside the box. You can go for the stuff that everybody else goes for. And the other thing is to go online and do your insurance quotes and everything. And I would do things like I'd add on my auntie as a named driver, or my dad, or something like that. Not make me a named driver. It wasn't fronting. It was still my policy. But just when you're doing it all on a computer, you can trick it. You know, how many miles a year are you doing? 10,000? No, 9,999, or 9,991, just in case they've got a couple of, they've got the range set to cover it. So, yeah, you can do. There's all sorts of ways of getting there. I think I shaved £100 a year off once by reducing my mileage by 1. So that's what I would do. yeah, my first car was a cheap car, so I got BX for my first car, so that was quite cheap to insure. So even though it was faster than all my mates' cars at the time, because of what it was, that was the beige bullet. So if you go for the standard, you know, the normal cars that most young people go for, I reckon the insurance will be horrendous. That's my gut feeling. I don't know for sure, but that'll be my gut feeling. You'd be surprised. Thank you for the congrats, Ark Keys 74, Stony Lonesome. Once I get an SM and drive it around here in South Carolina, it's going to look like a spaceship on these roads. I bet it would. I bet it would. SMs don't look in too bad in the brown. Yeah, the Bruin Scarabee, is it? The brown. All the best stories begin with watch this. Not that one. Well, I don't know. Ever worked on Maserati bi-turbos, 90-degree V6 related to the SM? No, I haven't. I haven't worked on anything like that. That's why the SM is so alien, really. It's only the suspension I know about, the engine and that, I've got no idea. But I know they're related, not the same engine, but they're quite similar. Yeah, I quite like the look of them. I don't mind them. Simon K's here, everybody. What a legend. Hey. So I know him. What have I missed? My FTO was 2,200 to insure a year. I know, and we used to call it the FT slow, because I believe we went on a quarter-mile drag race day, and I beat him in a 1.4 Saxo, because you had an automatic 1.8 FTO, which is embarrassing. So I think there was a good couple of minutes between pulling the lever to change gear and anything actually happening. But it was quite a cool looking car. Did we ever get the Piazza in the UK? Yeah, we did. Front wheel drive one, but yeah, we did get it. How's the C5 going? Great adventure after Ian. Yeah, no, the C5's done. I'm just very far behind, but it's the C5's done, and it's with the owner and has been for ages, and I'm just quite far behind putting it out there. But it's good. It's good. It responded well. It's a happy ending. So not that kind of happy ending, but yeah. So Miss Hubnut's here. Royalty has arrived. Evening, and what is that Welsh? I'm not even going to try. Ian sends his apologies. He's in a hotel with no Wi-Fi. It's not acceptable. Where we at? Oh, it's starting to catch up. Oh, I've caught up. I've caught up. Yes. I've caught up with the comments. I don't normally do that. I'm normally so far behind. It is indeed Welsh. Yes. Yeah, I took a guess. Has he gone to get the Fox? Yeah, he's gone to pick up the Fox from the place. I overtook a TR7 in my Reliant Regal on the M27. To be honest, I'm surprised you didn't undertake it, because on the M27 no one can drive. It's just people sit in the middle lane at 50. So she's looking amazing. What, the Fox? Has he had it done? Something done to it on the outside as well? I know I've caught up. I'm like, I don't know what to do now. I'm just going to sit and read the comments. Every time Hubnut mentions getting a C107 Go, I get my hopes up. Does he mention that very often? Ooh. You might have... Oh, glowing with the repairs. Metaphorically looking amazing. Yeah, okay, I'm with you. Yeah. Ian wants the C1, you want the 107. I'd have the Toyota. I think it's the best looking version of them all. But, you might have beaten me on that quarter mile, but I got my revenge against the TVR. Right. So, you didn't get your revenge on the TVR because quarter mile days are all about the time. And the TVR, if I remember rightly, got 0.3 seconds quicker on the quarter mile. You might have finished across the line first, but I got a quicker time. So, where we at? Have I ever tried sim racing? No, I used to do the PistonHeads Forza Championships, but I did I did one so well that I didn't do any more because I didn't want to ruin it. So I built a Lotus Elise, and I spent a very long time tuning the gear ratios so that I'd get an amazing launch. And four-wheel drive was banned and traction control was banned and everything like that, and people, I could hear them on headset like saying I was cheating, and I wasn't. I just spent a very long time getting my first gear right so that I could hold the revs at a certain point and just slingshot. So but no, I've not done proper sim. I went to the race centre. I've done that as a work thing and got fastest lap. But yeah, I might do it. I've got a steering wheel and everything, gaming PC, so it'd be nice to do it, but I just haven't got a chance to set it all up yet. So this might be out of the blue, but get an S-Max, Miss Hubnut. Yeah, I'm driving home in an S-Max, so I recommend. 20 minutes since I mentioned an SM. Okay, yeah. Everyone stop what you're doing. I've got an SM. Stop what you're saying. Citroën available everywhere except North America and North Korea. So what am I going to do for 10k? It can't be far away. I think it's about 5k away. So it's just what I've done up till now again. So that looks quite a long way away from me. I hadn't really considered it, to be honest, because I didn't really see it happening. But I joked about it, doing merch and stuff. So BeamNG. Yeah, I play BeamNG a lot. One of the reasons the videos are quite far behind is because of BeamNG. So I love BeamNG. Yeah, that's good fun. And parts of one, yes. I have an SM in part form. I don't know if I've got a bit of it in here. I've got a TVR Griffith indicator there. Well, a clear version. So that's from a Griffith. That's from a Caterham 7. Oh, is that from an SM? No, that's a Lucas one. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. That's from a BX. It's a boot light from a BX. Crap everywhere. That's the steering wheel indicator canceller thing from a BX, which I was supposed to be sending someone and still haven't. So there's some valves. Can't remember what that's from. I think that. I've no idea. I can't remember. I think it's from a Saxo VCS. That. I think. So then there's a Citroëns water level warning temperature thing. And there's an AX VIN. Oh, there's a bit of SM. That's the VIN from the parts shell. I've been trying to figure out what it says because it's so rusted, and I've just about figured it out. It's SB. Yeah. I can't remember, but I think we deciphered it. So, and that's the closest to a Toyota 2000 GT I'm ever going to get. So, We went to see Whiteland Restorations yesterday and mentioned you have an SM. Thank you. You're spreading the good word. That's good. Drive the SM at 100k. Well, I might have to. I might have to tow it, but yeah. I think I'm the reason Ian plays what Beam NG. My mate Andy got me into that. We had it on like a beta before it was before we could actually buy the full game. I love it. Just love it. Even I just pin cars down and pull them apart. I watched the Scrapyard video the other day, the Hubnut Scrapyard video. I love that. I like watching cars get crushed. So, but 10k celebratory track day. I'd love to do a track day. Do you know, I've never actually done a track day. It's stupid, isn't it? I wonder if any of the European headlamp parts for the SM can be 3D printed. If I get a US spec, I'm going to need to give it Euro headlights. I used to be in the same boat, but since I've got an SM, I now don't care. I know where you're coming from. I think it needs the. I'm going to get the glass lenses because I think it has to have that, but I'm going to leave the lights, so I can live with it. But I'll put proper LEDs in there. I'm not going to keep sealed beams in there. It's like having 4 candles on the front. 4 candles. So the S-Beam NG is so fun. 11th on the world record, world rally stage. I do that on Forza on Rivals. I got into it was like 100 odd thousand. I got up to 300 and something. So I was quite pleased with that. But I spent a very long time doing it, far too long. My CX diesel super estate has done a green wee. Can I have a hug? Yes. Well, no, not really, because I can't do it. But to be honest, all you've got to do is fix that leak, and then wait until the leak ends up somewhere that's not as important as wherever it's leaking from now, and then it's like controlled failure. They're always going to have a leak. It's just where it leaks. So. It's great escapism. What, Beam NG? Yeah. Beam NG is amazing. Or is this the Scrapyard thing? Yes. I was jealous of him when he had the controls. Merch for 10k. Yeah. Yeah, probably. Do something. Handles for forks, yeah. Regeneration gloop you're talking about. I had C6 running earlier on. Hasn't been driven since May. Hasn't had a chance to do regen because it hasn't been driven. So it's trying to force itself to do one when it's ticking over. So it's sat on the ramp spewing smoke out. It stinks. I need to drive that and just thrap it up the motorway. So Beam NG, yes, great. So the better the escapism I love, and this is where I go really geeky, is I like Train Simulator. That's my escapism, because that's just so calm. You just put your headphones on, right? Everyone go away. I'm driving from Settle to Carlisle or something like that, in something really slow as well, and a steam engine, so I have to work at it. So yeah, that's if you're really annoyed. I do that because I won't get stressed. Doing that. And if I want to get stressed, I'll just play FIFA on the Xbox against some kid online. So used to own a Fiat Coupe 20 valve turbo. The only car I regret selling. I've not. No, I haven't worked on one. I had a mate who had one, a limited edition. Like a dark green one with a body kit and anthracite wheels, I think it was. It sounded awesome because it had a cone filter, I think, just inside the wing, near the passenger window. It was quick car, but no, I've never worked on one. I don't think I'd particularly enjoy it, to be honest. So, Bulldog t-shirts, with a big line through it, big X. Have I tried what Euro Truck Simulator? I've bought it because it was on it was on Steam on special, so I bought it. But I haven't actually got any way of. We've got a PC and I've got a telly on the wall, and I need to sort the room out so I can get the PC to work on the telly on the wall, and I can sit on the sofa with a steering wheel. But yeah, I might have a go. I'll probably have a go on that. Calm until you pass a signal at danger. Yeah. No, I'm better at reading the signals now because the ones I get really stressed on is the ones where like someone's done a scenario and there's a glitch in it. There was one I was doing where you went from Portsmouth to Woking with a class 30. I don't know a huge amount. Class 37, I think it was the one with the 3 windows. My kids always used to say. They sound quite cool. Chug, 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 and you had a massive, long, heavy freight train behind you. It took ages to get it going and ages to stop it. And there was a signal outside. Was it Guildford? Can't remember. Hazelmere, I can't remember. But I'd stop there, and it just never went green. I sat there for 20 minutes just looking at the computer screen, waiting for the signal to go green in my train. I ended up turning the train off. Thought I'm wasting fuel. So yeah, I got a bit stressed doing that, but most of them are pretty good. So if I'm still caught up, yes. Got Ian through lockdown. What? Yeah. I quite enjoyed the first one, to be honest. I quite liked it. The second one was not as fun. But I think the first one was it was summer and you could just go out for walks and yeah, it was quiet out and you had computer games and things. But it was quite stressful because I was having to come into work. And then when we had the kids homeschooling, quite often had to hang around at home helping them and then try and come in here over the weekend. So yeah, it got a bit stressful, but got through it. What do you think of the 105 series, Alfa Romeo GTs or GTVs? What's a 105 series? I don't know. Is that the classic one, the old rear-wheel drive ones? We had one in. What was it? Was it GT Junior Sprint or something like that? Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, we had one in here a while back, but not a newer one. I don't know what 105 series is. I don't know a huge amount about Alphas. I've had one, but did I mention I have an SM mugs? Yeah, I had that. I had no idea for that, and I thought also I could do one with Ford Fairmont's UK Specialist or something like that, and then on the back, nope. I remember some scenario where I keep ending randomly because some train miles down the line was crashing into something else. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? But the best thing on Train Simulator, I'm getting really like off topic, but the best thing on Train Simulator is you can go in the community and download things that people have made. And there's a guy on Steam who's he's made Warwick, I think his name is, and he's made like the entire Southern Railway network, but like across a mix of decades. So you've got like the lines like to Gosport and Bishop's Waltham and stuff like that, and yeah, he's spent such a long time making it all, and you can just play it for free. So it seems I sent him some of them Steam Point things because I've got tons of them and I don't use them for anything. So I'd say I spend a lot of time on that. Apropos, what? Having bought an SM I just bought an NSU R080. Nice. Nice. NSU. I read about the co-motor thing between Citroën and NSU. I think it was. And that's really interesting. Bet he was chuffed. Who? What, the guy I sent Steam points to? He was really, he responded. He was like, no one had said thank you to him before. Apparently, they just download it. Probably like YouTube, where you do something for free and then people complain about it. So I expect people complain that you got a speed limit wrong somewhere. I don't care, I love Train Simulator. I daren't get into Truck Simulator. Although I found out on Truck Simulator the distances aren't, on Train Simulator the distances are all like real life. So if it takes you an hour to go somewhere in real life, it will do on Train Simulator. On Truck Simulator it's shortened. I don't like that. All or nothing. Same as Flight Simulator. Real time. I flew from Southampton to New York in a Bristol Brabazon. Look that up. Bristol Brabazon, 4 propeller engines across the Atlantic, and I did it in real time. How's SM going? I hope it don't peeve you off me asking, as the looks are frustrating. The SM's oh Christ, it's 8:30. I didn't realise how late it got. The SM is safe and well. It's in its new little home. I've started to try and jack it up, which you think that you just do that and then you get on with what you actually want to do. But getting that thing jacked up is a bit of a workup, because everything you would normally jack up is rust. It's pretty rusty underneath. It's really quite bad underneath from what I've seen so far. So yeah, I think the next video, as I say, will be mostly to do with the history, but then there'll be tinkering after that. I have to start pulling it apart. One of the things I've got to do is start taking it to bits to make it lighter, because everything that's holding it up at the moment, the lighter I make the shell, the easier I can pick it up. And even the seats with the mechanisms on, they weigh quite a lot. So it's yeah, it's basically just a case of I need to get the engine out as well and have a look at that. I know it's not seized. Of course, it could still be broken. I thought that the other day. I did a video and I was really happy it's not seized. And then I thought, yeah, the valves might have still broken. They might be embedded in the pistons. It's just still turning over. So I once saw a video of a local to me railway line on Train Simulator that was closed because of the beaching cuts with a class 158 DMU. What's a... That's a... No, it's not a Sprinter, is it? Yeah, that's the one that crashed in the Salisbury Tunnel. They're nice, they are. Quite comfy. Do you think we're going to see a flood of half-finished project cars now life is sort of returning to normal? No. Well, I don't know, maybe, but I think there's enough of them out there. You see, I see so many people with cars they've started and not finished. So, well, I mean, I've got one, and I sold Meg, didn't I? So he's in his lorry at the moment. You don't need a simulator. I'd love to be a train driver. You'd help me out with the SM. You're going to need some experience when I get one. What you need to do is get yourself a parts SM and practice taking that to bits before you take the real thing to bits. What's the plan? Strip everything off and get it dipped? No. No, well, I don't know. Probably not. It'll probably be localised repairs, but I don't want to. I want to take as little as possible off, because the more you take apart, the less original it is, and I want to keep some originality, but I don't think there's going to be much, to be honest, because it's pretty rusty, and then if I'm going to change the colour, it's all have to come apart anyway. So in a Brabazon, did it take 12 hours? I don't know, but I set it on autopilot and went and had dinner. So I didn't sit by the computer that long. Miss Hubnut's a lightweight, she's going. She can hear more angry sounds from Mini Hubnut, possibly another grasshopper issue. Sorry? Grasshopper? Hoping you can sort the crusty bits. It's an excellent car. Yeah, there's a lot of rusty bits. Oh, Tammy, right. I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, to be honest with him, he could have had a little glass tank with some grasshoppers in it. So, 100 miles is about 12 minutes on truck sim. Yeah, that's no good, is it? That's no good. There's no escapism there. Car you tuck Ian and his miss. Sorry, Stephen, I'm not. See you later, Miss Hubnut. Oh, I suppose you can drive from England to Poland in the evening. Yeah. They need to make a channel tunnel on Train Sim. That's what I want. I know someone, one of the guys who runs a channel on here, 16 Valver, Steve his name is, Chodspot on Twitter. He actually drives channel tunnel trains. I'm very jealous. It's his job. I don't know why I'm jealous, because it doesn't look fun because you just sat there, but at the same time it's fascinating. So right, I'm going to knock off in a quarter two. At quarter two I'm going home. So but I haven't actually said thank you to everyone for like subscribing and indulging me in this. So yeah, it's very much appreciated. I didn't actually say that when I first logged on. This one feels like it's, I mean, none of them are like, none of the chats I ever do are organised, but this one feels like all over the place. So sorry, you have C5 or C6 when you pick Betty up. Yes, C6. I've been working on that today. So I do want to get the C6 on the road. It's not on the road. It's been off the road since May last year, and that's when I put the red BX on the road, and I started using that every day. But the C6 I do want on the road. I'm hoping it'll be on the road in March. How well it's running, I don't know how well it'll run, but it's got a gearbox issue as well. So there'll be videos coming on the C6. There's a lot to go through with that. So worked Virgin cross country on Voyager. When you watch through windscreen fog, nothing to be seen. I admired driver at 100 mile an hour. Yeah, I bet. That's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing that's scared. The danger thing with trains. Everyone's like, oh, trains are boring. If you're a train driver and you're doing 100 mile an hour and then you see something on the track, you can't do anything about it. That's kind of like living on the edge, isn't it? In a car, you could steer. But in a train, you're just like, I'm going to, like, if you're doing 125 mile an hour, you're committed. So, 3 jumpers as a train driver, you get medically retired, do you? Surely that's different from, like, train company to train company. It's not a rule or anything. Andy's SM strip and get it blasted. Don't know. Possibly. There's a lot of filler in bits of it, and there's a lot of rust underneath it. But I'm gonna get a rotisserie, or make a rotisserie, and flip it over, So I know someone who I could take it to the place that does the TVR chassis for us, because I've been down there before, and they've had Porsche 911 shells, quite often have Volkswagen buses. Fella who runs it, he likes his Land Rovers. I'm pretty sure I've seen Land Rovers in their Defenders and things. So thank you, Dean. Ideal SM drive. It's got to be France, isn't it? I would say. You got to do an old auto route, not a péage, but an old auto route in France, north to south, and then probably round the south of France, Saint-Tropez, Monaco, all that sort of thing. That's what you'd have to do, isn't it? In an SM, and then back again. I'll do it one day. I will do that. I think I might have found out why my 1991 Toyota Celica isn't running properly. Okay. Had a woman jump. We had to look for bits of her. Yes, you are committed. It's like you're about to have an acid trip. It could be fine, it could be hellish, but it's certainly not going to be boring. I've heard horror stories from drivers. I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think Francis Bourgeois is only the beginning. I think trains are going to be the new thing. So, no, thank you for coming along, Steve, Mr. Steve Bull. You know, Steve Bull used to play for Wolves, I'm guessing. Citroën SM aficionado since birth. Well, see, you don't know that, because when you were a baby, you didn't know what an SM was. But when did I get into SMs? I had a little Citroën booklet, and it was called Dates. It was white, and it had dates written up it, and I've lost it now. My dad gave it me. I've lost it now. But that's when I first saw an SM. And I didn't really notice it much. I was too busy looking for BXs, but it had the badge in the bonnet. And I remember that. So I was too busy looking at the modern stuff that I recognised, because I was growing up in the 80s and 90s. So, but yeah, that's when I first learned of an SM, and it was only as time went on and I grew up and I thought, actually, no, that is the best car ever made, ever. So, the initials are DS though, yeah, they are. That's, yeah. Paris to Monaco. Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I'm quite close to France here. I'm not far. So, I just start from here. I like going on a train, on a Channel Tunnel. It's good when we took me and Simon, who's on the comments there, we took the BX over there, the 16 valve, to Paris, down to the Conservatoire. That was good. That was a good trip. So it'd be better in an SM, but inlet manifolds in two parts, no gasket between them. Engine is a 3S GE. I had a Toyota MR2 with a 3S FE. Yeah, that was slow. Yeah, the GE was the one I thought it was. 80s, 90s were an excellent time to be growing up. Everyone says that, don't they? The time they grew up in. But yeah, you do look back with nostalgia. I think we have. I think this was the best time to grow up, because you've seen, kind of like in the 80s, technology had moved on a bit from the 60s. And then now you've been around from the whole point between people not having smartphones, and now everyone's got smartphones. So it's kind of how it's changed society there. And then the internet coming in. And then if you look at it from a car point of view, you've had, you know, I'm at a point where I can drive a CX, I could buy a DS, I could buy a Ford Model T, or you can buy what's coming out tomorrow, which is nothing like it, which is like an electric car. And the internal combustion engine is, let's face it, it's dying. So we've got to do all of them. So I think in terms of best time to be alive, car's point of view, born in the 80s, I think you're laughing. You've had everything. So if you're born in the 90s or the noughties, you're not going to get that vibe, that thing that cars had in the 90s and the 80s, the hot hatches and the coupes and like the different fashions that were coming in. And now kids, oh god, SUVs. Like, when you see someone's dream car, what's your dream car? Or Range Rover. So yeah. Oh, my father owned one in the 80s. What's this, SM? Citroën pulled out of the US. They did. They did. Well, they pulled out of the US in a grump because the US federal government, the federal motor and regulation laws thing said on the SM, they had to change the lights originally, which is why the federal SM has the round lights without the glass, and there's a couple of other things that are different between the Euro spec SM and a US spec SM. Like the US spec car has additional bracing in it, has a primitive form of EGR, which is actually just a pump that pumps oxygen into the exhaust, so it's still making the same amount of fumes, it's just diluting it. What's the other? Oh, a metal fuel tank, not plastic. But when time went on, I think it was 74, they thought they'd get an exemption for the bumper restrictions, that when the cars have those stupid huge bumpers, and they basically had a fallout over that. And then there was the whole thing about the suspension being height adjustable, so the headlamps weren't fixed, of a fixed height, and the Americans weren't happy with that. Even though if they'd let them have the Euro spec ones in the first place, they are height adjustable based on the suspensions. They would have been fixed height, more fixed height than an American car would have been. But where are we at? What's on the which cars do I really dislike? All the questions have started coming in now. SUVs. Yeah, anything SUVs. I'm not mad on new German cars so much. But yeah, SUVs. Hate them. Just don't see the point of them. Paris to Dakar, yeah. Wreck my car doing that. Last generation of street kids. What about the up and down hair products range? I don't think I'm probably not the person to base any advice or anything about hair products on. So when I wash my hair, black comes out of it. So I'm growing it at the moment for I'm going to do that thing that Ian did when you chop it off and send it off for charity to make wigs. So because I might as well. Apparently I've got nice hair. Girls tell me I've got nice hair. Like not style. I mean just physically thick, and it's got different colours in it. Yeah, same applies to computers. Yeah, there's loads of things. How many cars do I have on the fleet? My own depends what you class as a car. Do you class that SM parts car as a car? Probably not class that as a car anymore. 8, I think. How many have I got on the road? None. I drive my wife's cars at the moment, but I will hopefully get the C6 and the red BX on the road next year. So, America has the worst car regulations. They do. How come with C4 Picasso they had, that's a good question, how come they had a fixed center and the wheel rotates? The reason they have that is because if you have an airbag in a steering wheel, it can only be a certain size. So the passenger airbag in a car is normally big and long, and you can't miss it. But you can't do that in a steering wheel, because if you turn the steering wheel like this, the airbag would come out the wrong shape and injure you, unless you make the steering wheel fixed. If you make the hub fixed, you can have a full-size airbag, driver and passenger. That's why they have a fixed hub. It's a good idea. All cars should have that. I am the reason I want to have a CX Prestige or any old BX. I shouldn't be the reason. You should just want them because they're amazing. So So up and then keep it going. Long bridge car straight through bridge onto rail track. I helped evacuate train. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Are we on like train deaths now? So. A BBC model, but we're into computers, aren't we? Off-centre steering wheel. It shouldn't be off-centre with a C4 Picasso. You've got two spokes. It should be like that. But the GS's and DS's, they're slightly off-centre. They point in, so they kind of sit at with the spoke at 8 o'clock. And apparently that's so that when you hit it, if you have a crash, it deforms and pushes you into the car and stops you getting thrown out, I believe. Up and down once washed his hair with car shampoo. This is true. It wasn't just my hair. I had a shower with it. Because I had, for some reason, I had car shampoo in the bath. Well, it wasn't for some reason. I had car shampoo in the bathroom because that's where I've been filling the bucket up in the bath. Because it didn't fit under the sink. And I ran out of shampoo and shower gel, so I had car shampoo. And so if I was going on a date or something or going out for dinner, I'd have used Autoglim. If I had Jay Leno money, I'd build myself a replica SM that's all-wheel drive with some sort of dual Duravi four-wheel drive system. See, I used to think like that, but since I got an SM, which I have, by the way, got, I think they tried to make it so perfect themselves, I wouldn't want to change it. So, but I get the appeal of that. But if I was going four-wheel drive, I'd probably go with the Japanese stuff. To be honest, I watch a lot of. There's a fella online called channel on YouTube called Jack Kello, and what's that? He does the videos from that Japanese magazine where they do like races around track and road cars from the 90s and stuff. It's brilliant. Supra versus GTO versus Skyline versus NSX. The NSXs and the Integra Type Rs are something else. So, but yeah, it is after. It is after 8:45. You're right. I'm gonna have to scoot. No problem, Neil. Oh, Chop's Garage has arrived. You've just come just as I'm going. Stuck a new fuel filter in the Acadian and it fired right up and hooned around the car park on old fuel. Nice. Nice. To be fair, yeah, I mean, I think I did a rolling road. I got a rolling road here and I did a dyno on old fuel once. And it didn't make much difference, so good to see. I hope you filmed it. Has the emission stuff in the C6 been reliable? To be honest, I've only done 1,500 miles in it, so because the gearbox is balked. So far, but give it time, it might not. So. Yes, I shall probably scoot. Nissan and Mitsubishi, their four-wheel steer tend opposite directions at low speed. Yeah, well, the Honda does. Go on YouTube, which you're on, and Regular Car Reviews, which is a channel I love. He did a Honda Prelude 3rd Gen four-wheel steer, and he films underneath the car when they're doing the steering, and he puts a GoPro on the side of it so you can see how it works. But yeah, you're right, they turn opposite. It's mechanical. It's just got a cam, so it's a steering rack, and you go one way and they go opposite way for when you're manoeuvring, and then when you go when you turn it slightly, the back wheels go the same way as the front, and then when you go past a certain point, they go the opposite way because it knows you're manoeuvring. So the wheels, when you turn, they kind of do that at the back. They go one way and then the other. But yeah, look at the Prelude video on regular car reviews. He's underneath it. They've got a separate steering rack on the back axle, what would be an axle. So yeah, that's worth watching. It's a fully mechanical linkage, so it's quite cool. Yeah, regular car reviews is, yeah, I love it. I love regular car reviews. The Porsche, is it the 944 or the 924? Cracks me up, that one. Thank you, Chops. He's like VTEC for steering, yeah. Mr. Regular, honestly, he's a wordsmith. He's just, yeah, he's brilliant. He just nothing. The reviews he does are nothing like, I couldn't do anything like that. Doesn't really talk about the cars that, I mean, he does, but like it's always like the social setting and everything behind them, and they'll start likening them to something. Thank you, Chops. Yeah, 5k. I mean, I never thought it would go to 5k, to be honest. I'm amazed it has, and I'm not anticipating it going much higher, to be honest. So I'm happy if it stays at 5k. I'm happy with that. Happy as a pig in the proverbial. So yes. Always disappointed by the lack of car audio with RCR. What you mean? What? When he's driving on, because he voiceovers everything, doesn't he? He films it all and then he voiceovers it later. He's got quite a cool voice, hasn't he? So it sort of works. He used to be a teacher, did he? That makes sense. So. Right, I'm going to scoot in a minute. Thank you, Fullwell. An Accord Type R. I'd like an Accord Type R. I had an Alpha V6 with a Busso in it. You have to rev them a bit, to be fair. They're quite revvy. Well, that was a 3 litre. No, it was a 2.5. You get a 3 litre or a 3.2. They're just gutsy. I'd love an Accord Type R. I really like those. But for the Citroën world, it's not about how many viewers you get, it's attracting the right viewers. Yeah. I've got more than I ever thought I would, so I'm perfectly happy. I shall sit and enjoy what I've got. I'll screenshot my 5,000 in case it drops. I'll put a video out or say something controversial one day and it will just plummet. So he's got a literature background, you can tell. You can tell he has. Who do I watch on YouTube? Well, I'll sign off with and then you can all go and watch them. Regular car reviews. Jack Kello. All them channels they race around on. Ian, obviously Hubnut. I've watched some of the Chops things. Adam C. I like watching Adam C. It's just funny. I watch all sorts, not really car stuff, to be honest. There's one called Well I Never. Train of Thought. Watch Train of Thought. Train of Thought's brilliant. They're little like 2, 3, 4 minute videos about something that happened in history with trains, something interesting, like when they tried to use them as to take the mail, and they used to hang a bag on a stick and the train would catch it as it went past in a net. Roads to Life, yeah, he's good. Jay Leno, I did watch, yeah, I haven't done for a while, but yeah, I did watch, starting to watch them thinking like, oh, I don't know, sort of the way he talks, yeah, I don't know, is he genuine? I don't know, I think he is, but yeah. I have watched some big car. Yeah, he's quite good. The way he kept saying Citroën when he did the BX video, like, made my teeth itch. I don't know why he was. I don't know, because he didn't do it on any of the other ones with Citroën. So, but yeah, Road to Life's good. I can't remember his name now. He was on Twitter and he left. Can't think what his name was. Was it Matteo? Yeah, he's a proper Italian, isn't he? Yeah, watch some late break show stuff. Not what much, because they're a bit too long for me, which is rich coming from me, because mine are too long. But yeah, I don't normally have that much time at lunch to watch them. So, oh, Project Binky, obviously, I watch all them. But anyway, I'm going to go as well, because it's 9 o'clock and I'm hungry. So, yes, I will. Oh, the comments are coming at different speeds. Struggle to watch anything over 10 minutes. Yeah, I tried to get mine down a bit. So, I think someone's just tried rattling the front door. I should probably, I'm gonna go and get Matteo. That's it. I should yeah, I'll probably get attacked when I leave there. So yes, I'm going to yeah, gonna knock it on the head. It could be the wind, actually. No, it's not really. It's not really bad here, to be honest. It was blue sky today, so thank you very much. Yes, next 5k, maybe. So hopefully a better video on the weekend, and then next week will be probably TVR. Probably TVR. So, but if anyone's got ideas on what they want as well, if they think, oh, I'd quite like to see that, say. I can only say no if I can't do it or have no interest. So, or it might be a good idea that I haven't thought of. So yes, thanks for coming, everybody, and go off and do what you're supposed to be doing with your evening. Cheers.